Yo, how are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Tell me if I sound too loud or too low.
No, you sound way better than last time, though. You got that new microphone, right?
Yep.
Nice.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah, so for those of you unfamiliar, we did one coaching session about a month or so ago. The very first one. And you just started playing StarCraft a couple of, well, really just a couple of weeks, I guess. It's been like 2.5 months or so now, I guess?
2 months.
Cool. Awesome. Let me switch over to my main account real quick, and we'll get going. How have the games been going, though? I know you got promoted pretty fast.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So you know that starting from new season, I play like a couple games, and I was Silver 1. I was like, what the heck? And then I played a couple games, and I through the weekend, and I got myself back to like Platinum 3 right now. So
cool. Yeah. So I think you got promoted to like Platinum 1, right?
Yeah, that's what I worked so far. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, so last time I didn't even like really bother writing down the MMR too much yet, did I? No, I actually did. Okay, yeah. So last time. Yeah. Now go ahead.
It was like 2,700-ish.
Yep, it was 2,700 at Gold 1.
Yeah.
So that was previous coaching, and then, well, I'm curious to see where it's at right now. It seems like it's been going up quite a bit though. So have you been doing like mostly that Roach build then, like the Roach Ravager one?
Yeah, I did. Until at some point I met a Grandmaster guy who says, "Oh, the roaches are not really good against bio," and I was like, "He's right." Anyway, I did the roach start for the most part, except in some cases they have like a 2 bases all-in rush, or like I detect something that I'm worried about, and I just made other decisions. So.
No, that's good. Yeah. So I think the Roaches and Ravagers are really good as like a basis. At some point, you do want to switch out of them because they're not amazing in every scenario. But, you know, one of the reasons why I always teach people the Roach strategies in general is just because when you first get started, like, Ling Bane styles are great and all, but they're completely irrelevant if you have 5,000 resources in the bank. You know what I mean? Like, there's there's no point in really microing 5 Banelings if you have a ton of money in the bank. Yeah, so sometimes at the beginning of a season, especially when like an account is pretty new, it has a hard time like ranking people where they should be. So apparently they randomly put you in Silver 1 with much higher MMR than that.
Yeah, and especially like even I'm Silver 1, my MMR is like above 30,000, so I keep matching those guys who is in like Diamond and Platinum. So yeah.
So basically like the best metric to go off of is just MMR.
Yeah.
So current MMR is 3,177 current. Awesome. Alrighty, so that's about plus 400 in the course of like 4 weeks. That's really, really nice. At that pace, we'd be Grandmaster in like 4 months. That'd be pretty sweet.
That's the plan. Yeah, in 4 months, I can be Grandmaster.
Cool. All right, so race report right now. So ZVP, we are at 45% win rate.
Wait, don't you want to look at like the all seasons instead of like only this season?
Yeah, we can look at all seasons.
Because
it's a little bit more accurate.
It's pretty bad. So.
Yeah, I was mostly just checking out the current season, but I guess the season is still pretty new. Overall though, like things look pretty solid. Interestingly enough, your ZVT is really, really high. Do you do anything super different in ZVT compared to the other matchups?
I just know Terran better than other, you know, how to counter Terran better. So.
Yeah, is that because you played a bunch of Terran as well, or?
Yeah, although like the late game for Terran is kind of strange. So yesterday, okay, so this is gonna be one of the replay I can show soon. That the Terran go for the Mac build, and I went for Brute Lord, but Brute Lord are not good anymore against Thor. You know, like Thor now have like 3 more range. They outrange Brute Lord, so they just
they outrange Brute Lords. Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday I was watching the Nations War. It was like Finland versus Korea, and Innovation went for the Mac build, and Zero went for Vipers, Hydra, and Lurkers, which is really good. Like it literally just kill all the Thors and then win again.
So that is like a very new thing. So like with the new patch that just went live with this new season, basically they nerfed the Infestor, they nerfed the Brute Lord, they nerfed the Nidus Worm, right? And those were
Right.
all like basically the core builds that all Zerg players were like focusing on. So Swarmos builds with Nidus Worm are still pretty popular, but Broodlord Infestor seems to have fallen off quite a bit. Like there are still moments where you want to mix in Infestors and also Broodlords. But it seems at least that they have kind of fallen down, at least in like ZVT as a core unit. Over the last couple of weeks, like the meta is still really new, so it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what you want to go for. But you are spot on though. Like Lurker with Viper support right now is 100% the standard. And when it comes to like spellcaster use, I think there's like a lot more value at this point in learning how to use the Viper properly rather than the Infestor, because Infestors just really like they're still pretty good, but they're not as good as they were last time.
Right, that's true. Yeah, that's part of my today's questions too. Like I was going to ask you about like how to use those spellcaster correctly, because it's really hard to micro. Because if I don't micro it well, they just rush into enemies and they die because they cannot do the attack. They can only cast spells. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, so Vipers and spellcasters in general, I think that's like a really good next step to focus on, because especially in late game, and I think you're encountering that a lot more now in Platinum League and stuff. And especially like once you get promoted to Diamond, you'll see a lot more late game and a lot more games going past like the 10-minute mark. Like basically in Gold League, you can still just do the push really well, and you can probably win most games just off of execution alone. But once people start holding that, it's much easier to transition towards that late game. And I think Vipers right now are really, really important. Not just like ZVT and ZVP, but also in ZVZ you see a lot of Viper usage. So Vipers definitely are a really good next step to go for. Have you tried any Lurker play at all yourself yet?
Yeah, I did. I actually did a lot. So
cool.
Especially in ZVZ, because I has to go for Lurker even before this patch. So
yeah. So Lurkers already were really popular in ZVZ. Right now though, so you mentioned earlier like how Roach Ravager isn't very good against Bio. It seems like the standard right now in Zerg versus Terran, and once again, like patch is really new, right, is to go either Ling Bane into Lurker Viper or Roach Ravager into Lurker Viper. So we can still like definitely start off with the same build, but then work on some different transitions. So rather than just going for the +1 attack, Roach speed, timing attack, transition towards Lurkers from there, and then eventually also add in Vipers. I think that would probably be a good way to go from here.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Cool.
Although I think you're...
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you're right about like the pushing in Gold League, because yesterday I was playing against the Gold League player with like one hand and playing Protoss, and I won. So
you were playing Protoss with one hand?
Yes.
You gotta upset like all 12 Protoss players watching this right now. I'm sorry, guys. Those were not my words. So wait, what builds did you play? Like with Protoss?
What would be like 2 bases stalkers all in? No, it's 1 base stalker all in. So.
The dirty builds. Loko, I told you don't bully me like this. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't say anything. Upsetting the Protoss players, but pleasing Terran and Zerg. Yeah. That's the wonderful thing about the StarCraft community, man. Like, it doesn't matter if you say something really mean, because 2/3 of the players will pretty much always agree with you. It's like, yes, Protoss, really easy. Like, the grass is always greener on the other side, you know? But if, like, your ZVT win rate is really high because you understand Terran really well, I mean, practicing some Protoss is a good idea.
Oh, sorry. Understand Terran's mid-game really well, I would say. Because Liberator and Thor and Siege Tank in late game is super... It's a pain for me. Yeah, so like late game, Zerg goes a lot more into micro. So early to mid game, it's a lot more about macro and just producing a lot of stuff. But once everyone's maxed out, it really comes down to Viper control and positioning and, you know, like macro is obviously still important, but yeah. Like Zerg is a super like late game heavy race, I would say. Like, and Terran is like mid game micro heavy, and Protoss is like early game like micro heavy. All right. I think Protoss is super micro heavy in the first place. Like people have been making jokes for years that Protoss is the F2A move race, so like all army hold key and attack move. But I mean, there are unit compositions like Archon, Immortal, Zealot and stuff that kind of work like that. But Protoss micro is I think by far the hardest in the game in the like the late game scenarios, because there's some insane things. Like the standard Protoss builds basically force you to have really good micro, because they hold on against like Zerg all-ins. Yeah.
with very minimal units, and you basically have to juggle perfectly and all that. So it's kind of ironic, but.
All right, are we ready for a replay now?
Yep, I tossed you the party lead. If you could host one, that'd be great.
All right. So this is the ZVT game I'm talking about. All right, now you're the leader. Cool. Right.
How do you like the new maps?
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty standard. There's no slowing bubble and strange stuff anymore. It's just maps.
Yeah, they're just very straightforward. No, I'm with you. Like, they still are probably a little big, so they're still pretty good for Zerg. But this is so weird. Like, you're in Gold League on that little loading screen, and then he's in Diamond League.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you going to watch it from my perspective?
Yep, I'll watch the whole thing from your perspective.
All right.
Okay, so I assume we still start off with that Roach start, or did you transition away from that?
I don't remember. I think this is the Roach one. I think.
Cool. Yeah, so I've actually myself also been playing a lot of Roach Ravager into Hydra Lurker again in ZVT, even against Bio. It was one of the things that Sarah was doing at Home Story Cup. So it seems like half the Zerg players are going like Ling Bane into Lurker Viper, and then the other half are going like Roach Ravager. I can imagine eventually like Ling Bane will probably be better just because Ling Bane is more cost efficient if you use them really well. But I mean Roach Hydra, it's very, very good in general. And the nice thing about playing like so the thing is if you go Ling Bane openers in ZVT and you go up against mech, it is much harder to play. It's still doable. So you can definitely play Ling Bane against mech openers, but the nice thing about Roaches is that it's viable against both bio openers if you transition then later on towards Lurker styles, and it's also good against mech. So as long as you throw up the Roach Warren at the correct time, you're usually good against everything. You don't necessarily need to scout. Does that make sense? Like, because if you go Ling Bane, you kind of have to scout if it's bio or mech.
Yeah, the reason I go for Roach Warren this one is because I scout. It's a mech build, so.
Cool. Really neat. Yeah, that's neat. LowkoTV seems most micro-intensive. Yeah, that's true. Like, so it's actually difficult to say though. Like, so I was thinking about mech builds in particular. Mech builds don't require nearly as much micro, but I mean, yesterday, for example, at Nation Wars as well, like you saw some sick target firing from Clem on Banelings in particular. Like, if you play bio against Zerg Ling Bane, it's like the target firing required is insane. What is a mech build? It's not MAC. It's not MAC. It's not Apple Mac computer. No. It's mech as in like mechanical. So people differentiate bio and mech as part of Terran builds. So there's biological builds like infantry, and then there's mechanical builds based around like vehicles and siege tanks and all of that. All right, so very good scout here. So when you see this kind of thing, do you notice something odd about Terran builds? Like, do you see something here that's like a little bit weird?
So actually, I went through the bio build and micro build by myself too. And the thing is, I can't really see if it's a micro build or bio build just based on the first barracks, because no matter it's bio or mech, if they go for a regular build, they always start with a reactor instead of tech lab, and they go for the tech lab for a second barracks. So I need to scout it's either a 1-1-1 or a 2-1-1.
Spot on. Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah. Also, if they're going for like a super quick 2 medevac full of marine build at like 430 mark, they're gonna have another barrack before the first factory. So
yes. So that's the 2-1-1 first, the 1-1 opener. Really important to scout. So here, you pretty much already know it's gonna be 1-1-1. Because otherwise you wouldn't see the timing of this factory right here. Like they're timed in such a way that they probably will be switched over. Now, one thing that may be worth pointing out as well, most of the Terran players will probably go Reaper into Marine into Reactor. So that's just a really small deviation. But if your Overlord doesn't get like shoot away, like right here, because he doesn't have a Marine at all, it is very, very likely going to be some sort of 1-1 variant. But you can actually leave the Overlord here. So you can actually just leave it over here and keep scouting, because there's not going to be any anti-air until he starts producing Marines. But like you said, he's probably going to like produce the reactor, then produce a tech lab, and then the first Marine isn't going to be out until like a minute from now at earliest. So you could probably leave the Overlord here for a little while. But that's just a small deviation. Basically, like if you fly it in like this, you should expect to be shoot away and to like shift queue it immediately up to like this little... I don't know if you can see my pinks, but like up to the little high ground.
Let's switch to the all players. Can you do it again, please? Yeah,
somewhere. Okay. Oh, sorry, not over there. Somewhere over there.
The pillar point, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you got to be prepared for sending the Overlord immediately over there, because if it's a Marine right now and your Overlord would go to the left, like you're sending it right here, you'd probably be in trouble. Because you'd probably lose the first Overlord. So it's very minor, but essentially what you're trying to do with the first Overlord is just get like a real quick peek to see if they go Marine first or Reactor immediately. Or like if there's something else entirely. And then, you know, shift Q if you need to, or keep it around. But yeah, other than that, pretty straightforward. Yeah, so this basically confirms, okay, everything is cool. Everything's standard, nothing to worry about.
So I didn't see a Reaper here, because Reaper should be here right now. And so
yeah, it should be. Yeah. I think he was either late or...
No, there's no Reaper.
No, there is actually. It's right over here.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Maybe he decided to keep it at home for a little while longer. So the reason, by the way, why people go for like Reaper into Marine is not just because they want to shoo away the Overlord, but also if you go for a pool first, what a lot of Zerg players will do is they will send the Zerglings in such a path around the map that they arrive on the other side without having met the Reaper. And Terrans, if that's the case, lose the command center on the low ground, because you kill the SCV and then you can kill basically everything else. So maybe he decided to keep the Reaper at home for a little while, or he's just bad. Okay, no, he's not bad. No, that's mean. That's mean. He's just idling there for a little bit. But yeah, like it's good to like be aware of those small differences. You're right. Like when the Zerglings were out, the Reaper should have been there too. Actually, this map may just be a pretty long rush distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't move the Zerglings off creep, to be honest.
Yeah, actually, I'm waiting for the Reaper, so... so there's the annoying SCV.
Yep.
And I just...
Oh, yeah, so there he is. Oh, nicely done. Oh, well, that's a little greedy. Yeah, you basically want to use the Queen in these kind of moments. So... The Reaper, so on paper, right? That's also why I said, like, probably don't want to move the links off creep. On paper, he shouldn't lose the Reaper at all. You basically just want to harass it, and, well, if you get lucky, sometimes you do get the kill, but the higher you climb, the less often it will be that you actually get the Reaper for free. So, the real moment where you can, like, get it out of your bases is when the Queens are out. So, you can attack it with Zerglings, but you should probably use the Queens immediately. Well, you get the kill here, but, yeah. So one drone for one Reaper, that's okay, it's not too bad. Ideally, obviously, you don't want to lose the drone, but that's acceptable. Alright, so good third base, Overlord 31. Keep spending those larvae. I actually don't think that's a high ground, right? Okay, yeah.
Which one?
I wasn't sure, like this one right over here.
Okay.
Have you gotten like 2 Rex rushed at all? Or like 3 Rex rushed, like cheese?
Barracks?
Yeah, where they like put the barracks on your side of the map?
Yeah. My roommate did that to me every time, so I get used to that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so the reason why I bring it up is because the second Overlord is really good at scouting for that kind of thing. So I see that right now you sent both of the Overlords to the other side of the map. I think you probably just want to send one. Just because oftentimes they will always bring out at least one Viking or like a medevac, so you're likely to lose that first Overlord regardless. I think losing 2 could be pretty painful because they probably go down around the same time. So I would advise like instead using, and we're already getting into details, man, like it's only been a month, but I would advise using that Overlord, so like the first one you made, so the one that you made at 13, to scout for proxies instead.
Okay.
So can you see my pings?
Let me switch to. I can see it now.
Yeah. So basically, you want to like think, okay, if Terran is gonna set up proxies, what is the most likely location?
Here.
Yeah, like probably over here, or for example, over there, or like you know somewhere where your first Overlord doesn't scout, right?
Yeah, but Terran knows that I'm gonna take my third on here, so probably here or here maybe. But
yeah, or even out here. Like there's so many places. But essentially, you want to like, you kind of want to take like one direction of the map and see if you can scout it. Just think about like what the most likely proxiable location is, and then let that second Overlord scout that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna write this down real quick. So improvements ZVT. Use first Overlord. You produce. So that's the 13 supply one. To scout proxy Rex rush. Just knowing that it's coming early is really important. Like we could like dedicate a whole hour to defending proxy Rexes. Probably not worth it right now, but there's a lot of different ways it can hurt you. But I think right now, like having 2 Overlords across, like basically he's probably gonna go and produce a Viking as soon as that starport is out. So losing the 2 Overlords would probably be right when his Hellions are starting to roam the map. So losing 2 Overlords would be really painful because you wouldn't be able to produce queens, and like it can get really disastrous really fast. So you want to be careful with that. Small detail, but pretty important. All right, let's see.
New subscriber detected.
Lowpog.
Thank you, Heartnapper, for the 2 years. I will hang ornaments in the tree, by the way, for everyone after we're done with coaching. Thank you very much, though. 2 years. It's a long time. Okay, so very good. That's a pretty quick lair. So, have you like got a reason for the lair right now? Is there like a particular reason where
I accidentally pressed Z because I was making Zerglings and I don't have lava, so I just pressed Z and then my lava my hatchery got updated. So
okay, fair. Yeah. I was gonna say like I think that's a little bit too quick, but yeah.
A new queen has emerged.
Yeah, there's usually not too much reason to go for a really quick lair. The only reason why you would want to go for it is if you're really sure it's going to be like a benchy opener and you really want to have an overseer or something like that. But yeah.
That's a mistake. That's a mistake.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so when do you usually take either like when do you usually like tech up? So I mean, like for example, when do you usually go up towards a Baning Nest or a Roach Warren or a lair? Or do you have like a set timing for that at all?
So I've spent my first 250 gas on Zergling speed, Overlord speed, and Big Nest.
Okay.
And the tech, the Roach Warren and the Evo Chamber is the same. I followed your guide, the 421. So.
Yeah. So that I think that's the correct time. You basically want to make sure it's gonna be going up around like 4 minutes to 420 or so. Reason for that is specifically for Zerg versus Terran. That's not so much for like ZVP or ZVZ. It's a little bit timed differently. Yeah, so basically last time we went over like one build that's good for all matchups. I want to like focus on some more details here. There are like a bunch of hellbat timing attacks that are going to be able to kill you if you don't have your Roach Warren done by the time it's there. So usually I do advise like a 4-minute Roach Warren in ZVT in case of hellbat timing attacks. So if you have Overlord speed and you can scout, so in this game we don't have Overlord speed and we don't really know exactly. If you can scout that it's just a single factory, you don't necessarily need the Roach Warren so early. You may have never played against like a double factory build right now because it's not very common, but there are like some double factory, double reactor builds where they go for like really, really quick hellbats, and there's way too many to deal with just queens and Zerglings. So in general, like just general rule of thumb, I think 4-minute Roach Warren in ZVT is a good timing, and you probably want to produce about like 3 roaches, safely, like for safety. And 3 is good for like you know, 2-shotting Hellions and all that. Yeah, guys, 420 Roach Warren. There you go. It's easy to remember, chat. Come on. It's kind of funny how many text structures come up at 420 though. 420 is an important timing in StarCraft, guys. Yeah, so be careful like to not forget producing that small group of Zerglings when link speed is done. Nice little bit of harassment there. So this is what I mean, by the way. So likely right now we're gonna lose both of these Overlords. And yeah, that's just gonna make things more difficult than they need to be.
Right.
Your units are taking damage.
So usually if you can get into the base with a couple of Zerglings and you get in there for free, and this goes for every run by at every point in the game, try and always go for guaranteed damage. So with guaranteed damage, it basically always comes down to workers. So I see you like get in there right now with the Zerglings. I think it's cool to kill that supply depot, for example. But after that, the Zerglings just sort of die attacking the command center.
Right.
Yeah, just shift queue them between like the SCVs and then be done with it. Basically, I think that's the better thing to do here, because I mean you're not very likely to get the orbital command here.
Yeah, I wasn't really looking at this point, so
Yeah.
I didn't really control the Zerglings.
Cool.
That was
Yeah. All right. So +1's coming up. Roachmorn,
Their units are
Lair.
fighting yours.
Should be double gas. Very good. Now there are quite a lot of idle larvae here for quite a big portion of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to emphasize that. Like, spending larva is the difference between like Diamond 1 and like Master League, basically. Just spending larva quicker is huge. So that's the reason why you probably want to like, you know, spam keys if you need to spam keys. If you're gonna spam a lot of keys, just try and do so while trying to spend the larva. So just like 4 SD, or 1 SD. I don't remember exactly what hotkey you use for the hatcheries, but just in general. I'll actually just write it down as improvements. Okay, ZBT, and this one, yeah, so spending, like, basically reducing idle larva time is really, really, really big. And when unsure, just make drones. At some point, you'll probably lose with too many drones, but that's a good loss to have. Did we go about, or did we go over Benchy defense and like battlecruiser defense last time? Did we go over like spore crawlers and whatnot for ZVT?
No, but I know how to do it, like Benchy and battlecruiser. If they go for a battlecruiser start, I can defend with like one of the queens, like 7 or 8 queens. If they have like 3 battlecruiser. And it actually happened this time. You'll see. So.
Yeah. So just to give you like a general number that's easy to remember, cloak Benchies arrive at about 5 minutes. Or rather, Benchies arrive at about 5 minutes. So since you scouted that it's a 1-1-1, you should expect the first flying unit to be out on a map on your side by about 5 minutes. So in this case, you saw the 1 Viking, so you know it's going to be about, it's going to be some sort of starport unit. And since at this point in the game, you haven't seen a Benchy yet, even without scouting the fusion core, you can kind of make the assumption it's going to be a battlecruiser. Does that does that line of thought make sense? Because basically, like, if they're gonna go for a Viking, they are probably gonna also follow up with something a little bit different. So there should either be like a Medivac or like even a Raven, although that's super uncommon right now, or a Benchy at about 5 minutes. So since there's not, you should always be at the very least expecting battlecruiser play. And usually, well, if everything goes well, they arrive about 5:30. What's important to keep in mind there is that since the first Benchy or the first Medivac or something like that usually arrives at 5 minutes, 4:30 spore crawlers are really helpful in ZVT.
Okay.
So when you scout a 1-1-1, I advise just simply getting a spore crawler in every mineral line at 4:30.
Okay.
Okay. So the battlecruiser style. Yeah, so see, like, we lose those 2 overlords and it hurts. It slows everything down. Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to just defend against battlecruisers without spores at all. Because, I mean, you have a whole lot of queens. There's 5, but they can still kill like 20 drones while the queens are pushing them away. Yeah, that supply block also kind of like hurt us with the timing attack. Like the timing attack is quite a bit slower now.
Look at that! Your queen is ready. Your
All right, so +1's done. I still think this might be a good moment to just try and push across. Even though you probably aren't going to be able to get anything done. Sometimes you can, like, with just attacking right now, right? Like if you look at what he's got. So he's got 10 Hellions and 1 Marine, and then 1 battlecruiser. So by sending the roaches in right now, you could also automatically defend the battlecruiser because he's likely going to need the battlecruiser back home.
Right.
So I think no matter what, even if you kind of miss the timing attack and you can't really go for the roach push, like we practiced last time, it's still worth pushing across the map just in case.
Okay.
Because oftentimes, like, the best defense is just being on the offense. And, you know, like, you may as well, like, go across the map. Like, the only thing that can really kill you at this point for roaches and ravagers is, like, siege tanks. But, I mean, you just walk out of range, right? Like, you're not really going to take too much damage here. Other than, like, maybe, like, a second battlecruiser or something like that. But I think, in general, like, it's still a good idea right here to push. Just because it makes it difficult for Terran to deal with all this. Okay, nicely done. Did you get the battlecruiser kill? No, almost. Is that out of range? The top left?
Yeah.
Wait, where'd he go?
I don't know. There was like
Tactical jump wasn't on cooldown. Wasn't off cooldown yet, right? Oh no, you did get it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you did get it. Okay, okay, nice.
I didn't
huge.
know that.
Yeah, so he actually didn't kill that much. Now imagine like if he would have target fired drones here, he could get like the whole mineral line. It'd be really, really painful. Yeah, so preemptively, I would recommend like getting those spore crawlers a little bit earlier because they deal so much damage. So just against 1-1-1, so not against 2-1-1, but against 1-1-1. If you scout it like you did perfectly in this game, like 430 spore crawlers, it's the perfect moment to just get him just in case. Yeah, we get him right now anyway. Yeah, so nicely done. I like this a lot, so this is good. So you scout, okay, there's another battlecruiser. Fair enough. But you most importantly also saw, okay, there's not a third base or anything yet.
No.
So I like this actually. Like going straight up into the spire, if you see a second battlecruiser, is 100% the correct call. Right now, was that the game? Was that game 1 yesterday? Cero Innovation, where Cero also went Corruptor Roach. I think it was.
Yeah, I only remember like the last one was like, you know, the Viper Lurker build.
Oh,
so.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, Innovation gave up the bio build and he just went for the pure Mac. So.
Ah, okay, okay.
He was really good at bio though.
Oh yeah, Innovation's very good. Innovation is probably like the most dominant StarCraft player of all time. Like he's been around since the early days and he's been winning like every year. Other than I think 2018, he won a premier event every year. It's really good.
So here's a push, and I'm looking at the units tab. Actually, he does not have like he does not have enough units to defend this. However, like the siege tank destroy everything, and I don't have the high ground vision. So,
Yeah.
this is like the trouble I'm in every time. So.
Okay, yeah. So the easy solution here is to bring an overseer with every fight.
Okay.
So overseers would automatically fly across, you know, in front of your army, and they would spot those siege tanks on the high ground right over there. I think that's probably what's going to be the issue here. He's probably going to get those tanks up on the high ground. And it takes 3 corrosive biles to kill a siege tank. So you could kill all 3 right there with 3 biles right in that little like connecting point. They all take full damage from bile. I think indeed, like you're saying here, like that would be game over. So bring Overseer with every mid-game fight. Usually, if you were scouting like the main base, so one easy thing to do once you go up towards Lair and you want to scout more is to go for like the Overseer scout, just to confirm if it's going to be like a mech or a bio transition or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So usually you already have one.
Like bio transition a lot. Like they was going for the mag and they transformed to bio.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way to scout that would be to like basically right now when you get at Lair, to go for an Overseer scout. It's actually like we have a pretty quick Lair here, so you might be a little bit early on that. But basically, around like 5:36 is usually when they add on like additional factories, so you should be able to scout those. If you see more than one factory, it's always going to be mech. Unless it's gonna be like, you know, bio first and then they like add on a second factory for siege tank production later on. But yeah, double armory here would also be a dead giveaway. Yeah, so I think you're on point here. Like you could have won this game right here just by having an overseer.
Oh my god.
It's okay. You're still in a really good spot. You forced the lift off on the 3rd base. And we can transition here.
Because siege tank deal extra damage to the roaches.
Yep.
And Ravengers are just Ravengers, they don't have any heavy armor.
Yep. Yeah, so this was very, very close. Just with high ground vision, that would have been game over. But that's okay. Now we get to practice transitions from here. So I think against mech in general, Vipers are 100% key, and we can do some testing of like Viper micro in like a balanced test map or not the balanced test map, sorry, like the unit test map in a second.
Sure. Okay.
I think Vipers are really, really important when it comes to beating mech in general.
Yeah, like the blind cloud is super important against siege tank.
Yeah, and also abducts. Like abducts are also really, really good.
Yeah. But how do you like fight against like bio late game liberators? Like.
So usually also abducts. Like say you go down like the Roach Ravager initially and then into Hydra Lurker into Vipers. Usually what your late game army at this current meta would be like Hydra Lurker Viper. And you use the Vipers to abduct them into the Hydralisk.
Oh, okay.
If you have a lot of trouble with them though, and you notice I'm losing a lot, you can definitely also add in a Spire and just start making Corruptors. Like just 10 Corruptors or so, like 8 to 12 Corruptors I think is good against Liberators if you need to.
All right.
But yeah, like yeah, just like Heartnepper in the chat is saying, like abducts are really top priority unless you can get like the really, really juicy Blinding Cloud. I know, for example, like Pig does a lot of coaching. If I'm not mistaken, he always advises to not use Blinding Cloud and just think about Abduct. I think that goes a little far. You probably want to like use Blinding Cloud if you get the really juicy one, because especially like right here, right now, right? Like there's like 4 siege tanks hugging each other right on top of the command center. That's one Blinding Cloud that can shut pretty much all of that down.
Yeah.
But yeah, like prioritize Abduct, and yeah, we'll go a little bit more in depth in just a little bit.
Yeah, this is super good high ground for.
Yep.
Terran. Yeah, it's like he can both defend the surface on low ground and he's natural.
Yep.
It's just like 3 siege tank.
Yeah, so alternatively, you can definitely go better or Brute Lords as well. They were better when we last talked about it a month ago. I'm sorry, that went through with the patch. But yeah, they essentially like the Thors now shoot twice as fast. And they do half damage, but they're more microable. And then the Brute Lords now have 10 range rather than 12, so that means they get outranged by 1. So in the past, like Brute Lords outranged Thors, right now Thors outrange Brute Lords. They are still useful, but I think you need like Viper support or like Infestor support. But it's probably worthwhile to just practice one spellcaster at a time, because they require a lot of babysitting. So yeah, like if you watch like for example Raynor at Home Story Cup, he was going like Viper, Infestor, Brute Lord, Corruptor, Queen. Like basically 3 different spellcasters and micro them all perfectly. That's super hard. I can't really pull it off either. Like I try and micro 2 spellcasters and it's difficult. So I would just go either Infestors or Vipers, and I think right now like Vipers are just more useful.
Yeah, this is the moment like Thor kill everything. And also I hear the sniping from the Ghost. I'm not sure he has Ghost.
I don't think he's got ghosts.
Yeah, I think it's just Thor kill everything.
Yeah, it's just the Thors. Thors are pretty good. Yeah. So I think as soon as you see mech next time, just think about Vipers more so than Brute Lords.
Yeah, I think my main focus right now is just focus on Vipers more. Yeah, and the rest of the game is just go back and forth like that and I lose.
Cool. Yeah, so Roach Ravager Viper is really good. Hydra Viper is better. Hydra Lurker Viper is better than that. So basically anything Viper. Anything Viper is really good. And also, if you see mech, it can be really helpful to start up a second evolution chamber and start carapace upgrades. So carapace upgrades help a lot.
which is armor upgrade.
Yeah, that's the armor upgrade for Grand. Yes.
Yeah.
It helps especially against like siege tanks and stuff because they deal so much damage and you can like prevent the splash that they deal from dealing so much.
Yeah.
Don't make Brute Lords against Thors, says Heartnapper. Yeah, you can still pull it off, but it's so difficult. Like if you play Brute Lords against Thors, you have to have Vipers, I think. Because you need to abduct the Thors one at a time into your army, so the Brute Lords can actually like, you know, rain the little Brutelings on top of the siege tanks and stuff. It's just difficult. Vipers definitely have higher priority. Loco, last time I saw the map Simulacrum, I had a Latin test the day after with the word Simulacrum. It means image or statue. Well, there you go. Yeah, so 100%. Like you can add in Brute Lords, but I think Hydra Viper or Hydra. So it's either like Roach Ravager Viper, and then you have Hydra Viper, which is better than that, and then like Hydra Lurker Viper, that's better than that. And you can definitely mix in a couple of Brute Lords if you really want to, but it shouldn't be a priority.
I think I'll give up Brute Lord for now and use Lurker instead.
Yeah, like Brute Lords can still be good against Protoss. So most of the Protoss mid-game armies are like Immortal, Archon, Zealot based, and Brute Lords still counter those, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so when it comes to Viper play in general, transitions towards Hive right now are really, really early. So as soon as people see it's Brute Lord play, or sorry, if it's mech play, they will transition towards Hive almost instantly. Like before even starting up +2 and stuff. Like basically people transition really quick. But yeah. Let us go ahead and have a look at some Viper control, okay?
All right.
If you could toss me the party lead, that'd be great.
Toss you, like put you as the leader, or
Yeah.
kick you out?
Well, you can do either. Whichever you prefer. 420 Hive? Well, that'd be a really quick Hive. 420 Hive. But I'm talking like 6-minute Hive is pretty...
A Viper's Rush.
Yeah. You die with 2 Vipers. So, wow, great job.
Wait, what? Sure, yellow.
Did we jump into this one last time, the LOTV unit tester?
Yeah, we did the quick fire, rapid fire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, we played around with the infested Terran, and now they're gone.
Yes, we did play. I actually did not at the time. In my defense, I did not believe they would actually remove the infested Terran for that really bad ability that no one uses.
But they did.
Yeah, they did, sadly.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a new one because I use the 1.0 version and they don't have these upgrades. So.
Yeah, so it's called the test map. I will write it down as well. It's called LOTV unit tester. LOTV. I think it's LOTV unit tester online. I think that's it.
Okay.
And then you get this one. So this one is the most recent one because there is there is like the Zerg upgrade for Microbial Shroud. There's like 10 okay, hold up. Let's just restart it because I see a lot of people asking. I never get the right one. I just always type in LOTV unit and then it seems to pop up. So if you go to custom and then arcade, so custom, arcade, and then type in LOTV unit. I think that's what I always type in. It's the first one, LOTV unit tester online. Yeah, by Brandon.
New subscriber detected.
Wait, so if I want to purchase a specific unit, like a spellcaster like Vipers, do I just play like a special arcade game, or I just build it in the normal game?
I think you should probably just build them in the normal game. I just want to like give you some guidelines, I guess, over how to position them and how to utilize their abilities without like, you know, trying them out for the first time while actually in a game. You're like, what does this ability do? So have you tried any Viper play at all?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. Okay. You're in the game, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you do understand the spells that they have, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think there's
Ah, it's so much bigger. Wait, I'm the red one. Come on. No.
You're the blue one on my screen. I don't know.
Shoot. All right. Yeah, that abduct.
Okay. Nice.
Split, Loco, split.
Good practice. This is gonna be the new ZVZ meta. That's when you know we made it.
Yeah, I died. Shoot.
Okay. So I don't have to go over the abilities, right? Like all the abilities make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
So you were blue. Basically what I'm gonna do is get rid of everything on the screen, and I'll give you a bunch of roaches and ravagers. Where's the ravager? Yeah, just roaches will do, actually. It's totally fine. I'll give them like +2/+2. Well, +2/+2 roach speed. And then on the other end, I'll have a bunch of siege tanks that are gonna completely destroy your roaches. And we'll just use that as like a baseline. And first off, we'll try and practice a bunch of abducting. Okay, so I wanna just see a bunch of abducting. So I'll just go with this many siege tanks, just for the Terran players watching.
Wait, am I? No, matter. Split.
Okay, Terran players. Hope you enjoyed that. Excellent. Okay, maybe that's a little bit too many tanks. Maybe a little bit too many.
It hurts. It hurts my swarm heart.
It does, right? It does.
Yeah.
Okay, so usually when it comes to like Vipers, if we switch real quick, oh, can I actually switch? I thought I could switch color or mirror, basically. Is that a? Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. Okay, so here's the thing. The issue sometimes that you run into with Vipers, and that I see most people running into, is that you have them on the same control group as the roaches. So Vipers should not really be on the same control group because it doesn't really make any sense, right? The issue with like having them on the same control group is that they always fly ahead of the army, and then like you have these weird abducts. You have these like really small distance abducts that don't really achieve anything. So try and always have them on a separate control group, which I think is what you have right now, right? Okay. Secondly, when it comes to like abducting, you essentially want to have the Vipers hanging behind your army. So you want to try and figure out in what direction the army moves, and then put the Vipers so they are in a direct line for your units to be able to pick them up. So that abduct right there for me was bad. You saw that one?
Yeah.
You want to be able to like abduct the units straight into your army composition, so you don't have like, you know, this awkward moment where you either have like a really slow small distance abduct, or you know, an abduct that goes into the direction that's completely irrelevant. Let's actually try out. Well, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna like get rid of my roaches and add some siege tanks instead. Wait, no, that's. Can we switch? There you go. That's easier. Okay.
Wait. Okay.
Nah, that's not a very good map for it. It's a little bit too large. Let's go natural. Yeah, this one makes sense. Okay. So essentially when it comes to like pushing into a base, right? I'll turn off vision as well so you can't properly see. I'll just use a couple of siege tanks here, and essentially, yeah, exactly. You want to move in a way so that you abduct the units towards the logo.
Yeah, I can shoot. Okay.
Yeah. So there's like a let me actually get rid of a bunch of my siege tanks. There you go. There's like a little bit of positioning that becomes really, really important. So this one's easy to pick off. This first one. You want to be able to abduct them on the low ground while moving. Well, I'm not sieged up yet.
Wait.
Yeah, so see, like you see how they maneuver. So in a way, you wanna like draw a line.
No. All right, I got it.
You got it. You kind of want to like draw a line between where my units are located, so the units you want to abduct, the army that you got to kill the units with, and then where the Viper should be positioned. So Vipers are pretty quick, but you gotta basically put them on the same diagonal, right? In this scenario, where they essentially like abduct the units straight into your army. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So I think abduct is like the most important spell here.
Yeah, I think I've heard of this advice from one of your video in the coaching session.
Cool.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Let's actually make it a little bit more of a realistic army. So
Should I have an observer?
Yeah, I added an overseer just now, and I'll also add overwatch speed. Okay.
Wait, so should I put my observer? Overseer with my Vipers in the same control group?
So there's some moments where you do want to add the overseers on the control group with your Vipers. I think in this kind of scenario, it's probably a little bit easier to have the overseers on the same control group as the roaches, or like the roaches and hydralisks, or like hydralisks, but basically on like the main attack group. You usually want to make the switch towards adding them to another control group if you also start adding in corruptors in the mix. So say against like late game Protoss, you go up against like, you know, a lot of carriers and stuff. You may have seen like a bunch of games where they go like corruptors and then Vipers on the same control group together with overseers. And one of the reasons is that you can detect them pretty easily if there's like, for example, a mothership nearby, but also like if there's High Templar and the High Templar try and cast feedback on that ball, oftentimes they accidentally feedback the overseer rather than the Viper.
Okay.
So, but general rule of thumb, you just put them on the same control group as your main army, and then the Vipers on completely their separate hotkey group.
Alright.
Good luck out there.
So I can't actually see your army right now. Okay, that's cheating. That's cheating. We didn't do that one yet. We weren't working on that one yet.
No, it's like, okay, so my roaches, it's like right here, right? Can I snap ping? Right now?
Yeah, hold up. Let me turn on vision.
Yeah, I'm right here. Like the sea tank covers that range, right? I just got shot. It's oh jeez. Alright.
Yeah, you accidentally pulled the workers. That's okay. So one thing you could do is like send the. So this map is kind of small, right? So there's not a whole lot of distance. Usually the overseers are a little bit ahead of your main army. Essentially, you want to like. So I wouldn't recommend pushing up a ramp like this in the first place in a regular game, right? Like this is just for practice. I don't even know if you have enough roaches to kill all of this. But just as a general rule of thumb, try and position your Vipers in the right spot so you can abduct the siege tanks one at a time and kill them all one at a time as well with the roaches. Just give it a try.
Okay, like I put it here.
Yeah, so essentially you want to be able to abduct them. So if you get if you get a feel for the distance that the Vipers pull for, you kind of want to abduct them so they get killed instantly right when they land, so they don't get an extra shot off.
Okay. No, that's too far away. No mind. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
That's okay. That's why I practice.
All right, gotcha.
But it's also different to like have two control groups and stuff. That's it. That's it. Nicely done.
No, it's just, like how many sea tanks are shooting me right now? It's like
a little bit many. Hold up, let me see if we can. A hill? I don't know if a hill is any better. But it's just to get a feel for. Okay, this is.
This is very bad. This is very bad.
This is the Terran wet dream right here. Don't do it. Narrow choke. Nope, that's even worse. That is awful. Let's just do the regular terrain. It's just easier. Okay. Now, if you see siege tanks clump up together, you can certainly use abduct. I don't think you want to. Or sorry. If you see the siege tanks clumped up together, feel free to use blinding cloud. That's it. That's the kind of abducts I like seeing. That's really good. Ooh, you killed him in the middle of the air. There you go.
Oh gosh. No. Like, okay, here's the problem. Like, can I please restart? Alright. So you see, my roaches can go forward, so my vipers can be, on the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my roaches moving forward, and when my vipers did the abduct, my roaches is still moving forward and get shot by the other siege tanks.
Yeah. So basically, while they're like flying across the map, they like while the abduct is happening, they're not like an attack priority anymore. So there's some funny things that happen there. But honestly, I think that was really good though. Let's just do it like 3 more times, just to give you like a feel for it, and then we'll like try it out with some different units too. Okay. So this is not like, I don't even know if you're supposed to be able to win this fight. I'm just trying to like give you a feel for the unit composition and like the micro in general. So once again, I wouldn't recommend just like, jumping into a bunch of siege tanks with roaches and vipers in a regular game. It's not a very good idea. So you could also try and abduct several at once. So try and abduct these, okay, hold up. Let's try and like abduct like 3 at once, okay? So if you give me a sec, I'll give you like a bunch that are just sort of set up over here. Imagine there's like a planetary fortress over here too. Just try and abduct these 3 all at once into your roaches.
Alright. I'm slowly moving forward. You see.
So in those kind of scenarios, you probably want to send in the overseer first. There you go. There you go. So that was already a lot less damage.
Alright.
Now say for example, let's do it one more time. Yeah, let's just do it one more time. All right.
Yeah.
So you see right there, like when you abduct it, there's like a little bit of like if you abduct it and your army is too far away, it will still get a shot off, which is pretty painful. Hug it with changelings. Okay, so I just want to like compare this. What's it called? Sorry, not that one. Where's division? Where's division? I don't see it. Ah, there it is. Okay. I just want to compare this like same unit composition to Hydralisk. So I think Hydralisk are really good. Could you like select all your roaches and then hit delete? Or backspace? Or delete, whichever it is. There you go. Yeah. So roaches are pretty... How many roaches was that? Like 20 or so? 25? Roaches are pretty beefy. Hydras have a tendency to die faster if you're not careful. Now they have more range, so you can be a little bit more liberal with like the abduct range. So they can like attack the siege tank and you can abduct from a little bit more distance. But just give this one a try as well, and then we don't change that. See how this one feels instead.
That was a level 1 upgrade for me?
You should be at... Yeah, +2/+2. You have the range and the speed upgrade. So you notice like Hydralisk can be... Like they can shoot from quite a bit more range is what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. So that's when like the hotkeying, like you use the wrong hotkey to attack move on the same thing and stuff, right? It gets a little bit confusing. Totally fine. So what I wanted to bring up earlier, if you see a couple of siege tanks, so I'll try and set it up like this, okay? If you see like a bunch of siege tanks clumped up like this, feel free to like use a blinding cloud on that instead, and then deal with the others first. So you blinding cloud the 3 in the bottom, and then deal with the other ones first with abduct.
Oh, I didn't use it there. Sorry.
Alright. Okay. Let's try it again. So you basically want to use blinding cloud on the 3 that are clumped, and then the others you abduct around the same time. You can do that all at once. So feel free to like use multiple Vipers for that kind of thing. So you'd like abduct, abduct, abduct. I want to kind of see them all flying at the same time.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. I know, I know.
Ooh.
Much better already. This is StarCraft drills, okay? I don't know if you do any traditional sports, but this is the StarCraft equivalent of drills. Nicely done. Okay, 2 more times.
Okay. Wait. Nope. It's not. Alright. Okay.
I know it feels counterintuitive right now to. So this is already going way smoother, although now there's a bit of a move command. Yeah. Okay, now if I can give you one tip, right? So hold up, let me siege my tanks real quick. A way to make these fights way better for Zerg is by spreading out the Hydras first. So right now the way it works is when the first Hydra gets in range, the one in the front, it will start firing, and then the ones behind it have to try and get past it. The way you can solve that is by basically boxing half or so of these Hydras and basically making them engage in a concave. So you kind of want to engage with them already all pointing in the right direction. Yeah, exactly. And you can even split them off quite a bit. Like you could split off, like say, like the front 5 or so of them and move them all the way over there.
No, come on.
So the way you want to imagine this is like once you attack, you want them all to start attacking around the same time. And it doesn't really matter how far they are. Yeah, exactly. Like a bunch can go in that direction because if you attack move over in that spot, they will all get and fight around the same time. All right, give it a try like this. See how that goes. Duck, duck, duck. All right. That already went way smoother. I said 2 more times. I guess this is the 3rd time, but... Yeah, don't hold down shift, by the way, when using Vipers. I don't know if you were trying. I don't think you were doing that, right?
I didn't. Right.
Very nice.
New subscriber detected.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any questions about it. This seems to go really smoothly so far.
I'm gonna keep practicing, right? I'm gonna make 5 Vipers every single game.
Yeah, no, that's good. Like, I think like 3 to 5 Vipers is a good amount to have in general. Excuse me. You'll just notice though that Vipers are really, really gas heavy. So you can't, like, the reason why you want to get that 4th base at a reasonable time too is to be able to afford those things.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were pointing out earlier the addition of Liberators.
Yes.
I'm gonna be more of a jerk.
Yeah, it's like the tank on the ear, in the ear.
Basically, yeah, it's both siege units, right? So when you're playing Hydra Viper against mech, you can go all the way up to like 10 Vipers if you need to. It's not unheard of.
Alright.
I'll give you a couple more. And I've added in a couple of Liberators on my end. So Liberators function in much the same way. So if I show you real quick, right? So when you have Liberators flying around and they're like stacked up together like this, and I stop, they will spread out.
Yeah.
However, if I say I'm a Terran player and I shift Q a bunch of these like liberation zones. Hold up, actually, I'm gonna do that a little bit better. Say I've got them stacked up together and I queue up a bunch of liberation zones, they will stay a lot more clumped. So Parasitic Bomb right there, exactly, is 100% the right call. Now that's very situational, just like siege tanks with Blinding Cloud and stuff.
Yeah, but the Parasitic Bomb doesn't stack up, right?
No, it does not.
It only works once.
Actually, it deals 120 damage. So you can't like cast it on one Liberator, but you can cast it on the multiples around it.
Okay.
So you could cast, like, if you cast on a couple here. There you go. They will take a whole bunch of damage pretty quick. But there's like no, usually like that's not the correct way to use it because like they don't take additional damage. So Parasitic Bomb is a pretty freaking expensive spell. And you don't really want to like spam it around like no tomorrow for no apparent reason. So I would advise, just like Blinding Cloud, to only use Parasitic Bomb. So Parasitic Bomb is 125 and Blinding Cloud is 100 energy. You really only want to use those two spells if you can get the value of it. And otherwise, just use Abduct as the default instead.
Okay.
So all of these can be abducted. There you go. So notice as well, when you abduct the siege tank, it stays in siege mode.
Yeah.
When you abduct the Liberator, it goes out of siege mode.
To the rescue, your ally is in trouble.
Lowko, do the Wood League strategy, get Infestors and dump Infested Terrans. Infested Terrans are no longer in the game. As of a couple of days. They have been removed. Are you...
Yeah, it all died.
There you go. That is the weirdest thing I've seen in a while. Infestors now have a new ability called Microbial Shroud. It's terrible. Don't use it. Lowko, would casting a second Parasitic Bomb about a second or so later? Yeah, so that works. So, say the Liberators are clumped up. And for some reason, after like most of the spell is done, they're still clumped. You can definitely go ahead and use Parasitic Bomb again. So, Parasitic Bomb, like you could use it again right after it has, like, so Parasitic Bomb deals 120 damage. If you cast a spell, basically, so they have 180 life. Yeah, so when the spell is about halfway done and they have 120 life remaining, you can cast it again if you want to. Honestly though, it probably doesn't happen where your opponent is gonna stack up, you know. I wasn't playing, I was talking. It shouldn't happen all too often. Lowko, I don't play for 1 month and Blizzard ruins StarCraft 2. Okay, I don't think it's that traumatic though. Let's be real, Infested Terrans were pretty stupid. Hey, thank you, Juminator. He says, I never really liked esports or StarCraft, but your way of presenting it makes it really fun. Hey, thanks, dude. So, what is like another good thing to discuss? Have you had any troubles with like late game Skytles in ZVP?
A lot. Like there was one game they just throw up, like they build a forge and a lot of cannons, and then Carrier and Tempest.
New subscriber detected.
Okay. Can you get rid of all the Hydralisk? We can practice that a little bit too. So similar approach as to as to playing with this unit composition. Or similar approach as to playing against mech. You can play a similar style as well against that kind of Skytles. So the issue about Skytles is primarily that when it maxes out, it's really difficult to kill in a straight up fight. So usually what you want to do is you want to try and contain them on a certain amount of bases, ideally no more than say 3. And then chip away at their unit composition to try and not allow them to max out and to eventually mine out. So say you get them contained on 3 bases and you have like scouts and like small groups of units maybe at the next locations where they will expand. If you then chip away and like pick off 1 carrier or so at a time, you're gonna be in a really good spot because eventually they mine out and they have to either push or expand, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So usually you want to have an army composition that's kind of similar to this. Like the one you have right here. You can go double Spire if you need to and just upgrade the Corruptors. Corruptors are really, really nice against this. So this is what I was talking about earlier, right? So say I have a couple of High Templar over here and you group all of these units up together. So all of the units you have right here clump. you can put them on one hotkey, and say I want to like feedback this, right? I want to kind of try and click the Vipers, but I'm accidentally going to get a bunch of those Overseers in there as well. And basically what it means is that that's, well, I mean, it might be worth if it's like this, right? But most of the time, it's not worth for a Protoss player to get abduct. Or to feedback, rather. Likewise, say if I have a mothership here, and a bunch of carriers, you wouldn't be able to see the mothership or the units underneath. So having those corruptors in the mix is, or rather those overseers in the mix is really, really helpful. So I guess what we can try and do is have me just fly around with +3/+3. Oh, +3/+3 carriers. The scariest kind. And basically what I need you to do is just try and abduct one of these units at a time and go from there. So I'm just trying to max out here as Protoss, minding my own business. So in this case, you can leave the units on one hotkey group. I would leave them on one hotkey group and essentially have the Vipers. Yeah.
Okay.
So just try and abduct one of these carriers right now. There you go. And the issue is with Protoss right now, for Protoss here, I can't really properly engage this. Now you have to do that at maximum range or get multiple abducts in, exactly. Here, let me give you like 5 more or so of these Corruptors. I think the magic number is like 27 or something, so you can one-shot. I'm not sure, but just make a bunch.
Okay. So I should, when I'm playing against like a Skytoss late game, I put like Overseer, Vipers, and Corruptor in the same group, right?
Yep, so that's one hotkey group. Now you notice like the Corruptors are faster than the Vipers, so sometimes, exactly, you may have to box click them or like, you know. And Protoss can't really do very much against this. Like I can try an attack move right here. So you have to get out, like you basically have to disengage and go back to maximum distance. Oh, don't attack move your own Corruptor. Yeah, so notice, like, if you attack move the Corruptors in these kind of scenarios, they will go after the Interceptors because they're closer by. So you have to be, exactly, on point with the target firing there. Very good. That's it. And in general, with Corruptors against carriers, you have to target fire down carriers. You can't really target fire down. Like you can cast parasitic bombs, I suppose, if you have the APM to spare, but you can't really like just attack move with the Corruptors because they're just gonna be killing Interceptors and it takes forever.
Yeah.
Like Interceptors are actually sick. They're like 15 minerals and they have 80 health. They have 40 shields and 40 health. Yeah, it's actually sick.
Better than Zergling.
That's more than a freaking Marine for 15 minerals. It's actually nuts. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's a good tip for me to put everything in a one control group, so it's easier for me to conduct the abduct and the attack. So. Yeah. I think that's a nice way of doing it. And I think that's most of the Viper control. So for ZVZ, I mean, it's CVT and ZVP. For ZVZ, Vipers are extremely good too. Primarily, once again, because of abduct and... No! This hurts! It's really good to abduct like Lurkers and stuff. So it does work on Lurkers, which I'm assuming you figured out. Yeah. So, yeah, similar idea once again. You probably want to have a couple of... Like, you probably wouldn't have these Corruptors. You'd have like a couple of Vipers here. And then like maybe an Overseer. You can put these on the same hotkey group as well. And then you want to use those similarly to try and kill a bunch of these, Lurkers. With only Vipers?
Well, I mean, it's just the idea, right? That counts. Okay. But yeah, like Blinding Cloud also does affect burrowed Lurkers. Yeah. It's actually kind of interesting. So I always thought this was kind of weird. Like when you abduct a siege tank that's sieged up, it will still be sieged. But if you abduct a Liberator that's sieged, it won't be sieged anymore. And the same for Lurkers. Like if you abduct Lurkers that are burrowed, they aren't... It's very inconsistent. There's not really... I didn't even know you could get energy out of an engineering bay. There you go. But yeah, there's some inconsistencies there. Yeah, good question actually as well by Lart. So, if you go up against like a planetary fortress or photon cannons or something, they are also affected by blinding cloud.
Okay.
So you can throw a parasitic, or well, not a parasitic one, but you can throw a blinding cloud on a planetary fortress or on turrets, basically anything that like shoots. Look at the changed lurker melee range thing when blinded last patch. I think what it means, so blinding cloud isn't actually like a complete I'm not gonna attack you anymore. It reduces a unit's range to 1. I think what that means is that if you walk over lurkers in melee range, they will still attack you, even with blinding cloud on top of them. For siege tanks and stuff, since they have like a bit of a dead space, being right on top of them doesn't mean anything because they can't shoot at like less than, I think, like 2 range or something. I think that's what it means, Heartnever. But some of those things are always a little bit descriptively written. Loco, I think that's because you can take a Liberator away from the maximum range of their zone, but tanks and lurkers don't have a fixed point to shoot on. Yeah, maybe that's it. Can you parasitic bomb flying Terran structures? You cannot. I don't think. Can you fly a better? Hold up, let me make an orbital.
Okay.
I don't think you can parasitic bomb this, right? No, you can't. No, you can't. No.
Can't basket? No.
No. That'd be nuts. Imagine you can have like five of these and you can abduct the whole orbital command to your base. Yeah, so I think it was more or less like a bug fix, the lurker thing, because they should always be reducing range to 1, but I don't think they did that on lurkers. I think lurkers just didn't shoot at all. I'm not entirely sure though, but most of those things don't really come into play very often anyway. I can show you some replays of people using this kind of style if you like me to.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any questions about it or anything.
Yeah, I don't have like a lot of like quick questions for you. I read it on my notes. So I think we kind of solved the unit countering and choices problem right now, and the timing of defending structure. Like I see they put a lot of like spine quarter for sky toss. They put it on like on the creep, like not in the base, but like.
Oh, the spore crawlers?
Yeah, the spore quarter.
So in the past, the way it worked, so with the previous patch at least, for ZVP, people would try and reach a maxed out state on drones. So that's about like 80 drones. Then get about 10 Brute Lords out, so 8 to 10 Brute Lords, and then they would transition towards Mass Infestor. And basically, while transitioning towards Mass Infestor, people would also put down mass static defense. And the reason for that is that the Brute Lords essentially could counter any ground army as long as they were in the right spot. So they essentially created that like stalemate that's going on. Now, I'm not entirely sure exactly, but I was actually thinking about a game that Raynor played at Home Story Cup against...
Skytoss?
Yeah, against Skytoss, against Zest. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, so I don't know if I have it on the Europeans, or I think I have the replays on the European server. Let me actually, I'll switch server real quick and get the replays so we can judge exactly when he starts them up as well. In general though, so once you are getting that Corruptor Viper hit squad going, you also want to try and prevent them from just attack moving straight across the map because you kind of force them to make a decision. So as long as you have like a bunch of spore crawlers set up at that point, you are in a really good position.
Okay. Another question for Protoss. So what should I make? So if I do a scout on like form remark and I see like it's either Robo Tag or Twilight Tag or Stargate Tag, what should I make for each one of them? Like what should I make you counter?
Okay, so hold up, let me write it down. So ZVP. So you scout. Do you go Overseer or Overlord speed right now?
No, like
scout
I
in
mean
general?
like it's scout in general, yeah.
Okay. So first is Stargate. 330 spores are critical. And you can then transition at like, 4:30 or so towards a lair, plus Roach Warren. Because you don't really have to worry too much about like ground attacks and stuff. Against Twilight, usually, and this goes for Twilight and Robo, usually you want to go for a faster lair. So faster lair at about 3:30 to 4 minutes or so. There's a lot of different varieties, but the idea behind the faster lair is primarily Overseer based. So Roachling, Ravager can stop basically every 2-base Protoss all in. So if they go for like a Protoss 2-base all in, Roach, Ravager, Ling can stop it all together with like Queen support. So against most of those, you are going to be able to just defend using a couple of units that are pretty early to gather. It's just that you don't know if you're going to need the Overseer or like Roach Speed or something along those lines. One of the biggest tells, I think, is primarily, so after like the 330 Spores and stuff, if you scout that it's a Stargate or like a Dark Templar play, 5-minute lack of third base is a really big tell.
New subscriber detected.
So usually Protosses will take the 5-minute third base or so. If that one is not there, so if there is no third, start making non-stop units regardless.
Okay.
And at that point, you should be at about like 45 to like 50 drones, depending on how the game goes. Essentially, what it comes down to is that with like 45 drones, you are matching the amount of economy that they can have on 2 bases at most. So if there's no third base, it's likely going to be some sort of timing attack, which you should be able to hold once again. And then if there is a third base going up a little while later, you can probably use that army you made for an attack instead.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any questions about that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense, yeah.
I was just looking for the game real quick. This one on Acropolis. There we go, Acropolis. And then there was one from... Where is that replay pack? Oh, I just didn't download that one yet on this account. That was from Nation Wars earlier today. Let me get that game real quick too. So that was Finland versus South Korea, game 1. That was Sero Innovation. So that's a game where Sero goes up against that mech style. And then the other one on Acropolis is a game where Raynor goes up against a Stargate style, like Mass Stargate from Zest. So I think that should be good examples of what we just discussed with like the Viper style and stuff. Loko, how do you make a difference between Archon drops and 2-base all-ins? Primarily by seeing a third base. So when it comes to like Protoss expanding towards so basically when Protoss is going for a third base, they will usually expand off of 4 gateways. And if they go for an all-in, they will go up to 8 gateways. So you kind of want to scout, ideally, so in a perfect scenario, you kind of want to scout around like 430 to see the amount of gateways that they have. And you notice that like the top-level pro gamers do that all the time. They will scout around and roughly see what's going on. And then, go from there. How do you make the difference between an all-in and slow opponents? Seeing the amount of gateways, once again, yeah. So usually how it works is they go like 1 gateway at the front early, and then like a second one at the front a little while later, and then a little bit after that, after they've done their tech and stuff, they will add on additional gateways, and those are usually put in the main base. So you expect to see 2 or 3 gateways at that point, but if you see instead like 6 or 7, you know it's gonna be an all-in. Now technically they could go 8 gateways and then still take a third base, but that would just be a bad build. Like the only time I see Protoss players do that is when they actually thought that you were going for an all-in and they were like, okay, I'm gonna make 8 gateways and try and defend whatever Zerg is doing. So if they had like a misread or something like that, but... And then there is Zest who does those builds too and nobody understands them. Yeah, like Zest basically knows you're gonna scout, so he makes 8 gateways and then still expands while not warping in any units. It's like 200 IQ while actually being a bad build, but it works against players that are really good. You know, it's confusing. That's the way he likes to play, but that's because Zest is best. He is extremely good. Yeah. So I was gonna like watch the Raynor Zest game, but apparently that one is from the old patch or something, so we can't watch it together. Kind of shitty. This one should work. So this is Serral Innovation from 12 hours ago. No, not quite. Like 16 hours ago. No, a little bit more. But Serral's got his own face as a portrait. Actually, I do too. I was like, I'm judging him. I was like, I can't believe. So self-centered. It's like, I've got the same thing. Wait a second. So if I recall correctly, this was the game they played earlier today.
Which point of view should I look at? Should I look at?
I was mostly just trying to boost through so we can see like his exact scouting patterns and stuff, but I had a reason earlier why I really wanted to show you this game, and now I'm not entirely sure anymore. Oh yeah, so one thing that you can also look for, so notice right here, right, how Serral pokes in with that Overlord at the correct timing. So there's like small pickups that they will see, and they will basically determine the build immediately. So if you look at that Overlord right here, the one in his natural at the 3-minute mark, he knows the timing at which that gas starts in the natural if it is a battlecruiser build. So this is like the way these top level pro gamers scout. Like not only does he know how to like play Zerg, but he also knows how to play Terran. So he knows the gas is supposed to start at 3 minutes. He scouts right here, sees this gas, and he knows now it's a battlecruiser build. Basically every time. There's some like really clever moves that they make. So notice right here, like Innovation actually purposefully makes the gas in the natural before the one in the main base, probably to try and trick Serral into like specific builds. But there's all kinds of like mind games that these guys are pulling at each other that makes it really difficult. Yeah. Did you hear the story about Serral playing Terran?
No.
So basically, this was like a year ago, right after he won BlizzCon. There was a tournament in Finland to determine the best player. And essentially what it came down to is that Serral already obviously was the best player from Finland, without a shadow of a doubt. So he apparently participated in that tournament playing as Terran, and he won the tournament playing as Terran. So he's not only the best Zerg from Finland, but also the best Terran from Finland. It's a little bit silly. This was from Nation Wars, yes. Yeah, so he saw the fusion core here, just as like confirmation. Okay. So it's mostly like the later stage of the game. So this is pretty much like the similar game that we just saw. Just you notice like at this point in the game, I think you were sitting at like 45 or so drones. He's got a whole bunch more. Just because of like larva expenditure primarily. Oh, right. This is why I wanted to show it. So you were going for Roach Corruptor as well. And in this game, he's also going for Roach Corruptor. So he goes up against like someone who's going multiple battlecruisers. And as soon as he sees it's like multiple battlecruisers, he starts up that Spire. I think he may have scouted here. Maybe he went for the scout for the Spire no matter what here. Yeah, he may have actually. Anyways, this is that really crisp timing attack that Serral did. So essentially what it comes down to here, it's just like a variation of the build we discussed last time with you know, Roach Speed. He knows that his opponent doesn't really have too much by the time that he can get like a group of Corruptors out. So rather than going for like a Hydra transition or like a Lurker transition here, he just makes a ton of Roaches and then a ton of Corruptors and just pushes across the map and wins. It's pretty crispy. There's not too much going wrong here. Like this is pretty much as close to like a flawless game against battlecruiser openers that you can get. So it's just a push right here. So this is not, by the way, like, so we discussed primarily like timing attacks and stuff. This is not necessarily like a timing attack. He mostly just pushes when he's close to maxed out. So he can continuously keep producing units. So he engages right here at 184 supply. He could probably wait until like, you know, he has a complete maxed out army, but he sees an opportunity and just jumps on it. That's like, in a way, I guess, also a timing attack. It's just a timing attack when maxed out. So yeah, like just Roach Corruptor is Roach Ravager Corrupted. It is still pretty good. So sometimes you don't have to like get too fancy, you know. Like it's really easy to just try and get ahead and like push slowly but surely. But if you notice, hey, okay, my opponent is just playing way too greedy, just punish it if you notice it in time. Yeah, caught with his pants down. Well, it was just like a really clean execution by Cyril, though. Like nothing really went wrong here for him. So I thought this was actually a Viper example as well, but no, it was just a really clean timing attack.
Yeah, I think the last one was the Viper example.
Ah, okay. So I can't tell you exactly at what moment Raynor makes those spore crawlers. In case you're interested here, I can give you the replay if you want to check it out. You want to study it a little bit more. I just sent you the replay of that game that's Raynor played against Zest from Home Story Cup. Okay. If you want to like look exactly at what moment he decides to go for all of those spore crawlers. It is a good example though of like a game where he decides to go straight up into like that Corruptor, Viper, Overseer hit squad, and he just starts roaming the map with that and just picks up all of the units one at a time. But yeah.
Like, can you share another build order to me? Like based on the Roach timing push one? Because like, I have no idea what to go from the Roach build right now.
So do you mean like getting to like that Roach timing attack, or do you mean like the transition afterwards?
The transition afterwards to like Lurker and...
Ah, okay. So there's like some small varieties, right, that we've been talking about right now. So in the last time we talked primarily about just the one go-to build that you can do in every matchup. Right now I gave you like some small deviations, like for example 4-minute Roach Warren and ZVT against 1-1-1, and then like 4:30 if you go up against the Stargate opener. Like there's some varieties here that you can work on if you want to. General transition. Yeah, we can go a little bit more in depth on that if you like to next time.
Okay.
So general transition towards Lurker Viper. So I would recommend going for the Roach timing attack with speed and then +1. And then you can transition after that towards like a Hydra Den and a Hive. Now, what you need in order to like play that Lurker Viper style is 8 gases. Without 8 gases, it's going to be really difficult to produce that kind of army and also go for upgrades and the Hive and all that, especially if you want to mix in Vipers. So one of the priorities at that point, so the Roach timing attack with speed and +1 is done off of just 3 bases. As a follow-up, so if that push doesn't win you the game, you can go Hydra Den and a Hive. So that's Infestation Pit. And 4th base, while going up to about 80 drones as soon as possible.
Okay.
So that is for ZVT and ZVP, and for ZVZ, we can dedicate like so much time to just specifically ZVZ. ZVZ oftentimes doesn't go there. You can probably play most of the games just with like Roach Ravager based armies. If you like, we can go over that as well a little bit more, I think, next time, because ZVZ is like a completely different transition again.
Yeah, ZV is super hard.
Yeah, ZVZ, like the vast majority of the games I think most people play are just Link Bane based into Roaches. And the transitions after that, for now you can play very similar to like ZVT and ZVP, but there are some like smaller details that we can go over. But I think most of the games are probably not going to be like, do you see a lot of games where it goes up to Lurkers in ZVZ?
Yeah.
You see quite a few, yeah?
Yeah, like every game. They just skip to Lurkers.
Okay, so you just win with the Roach timing attack?
No.
Well, actually, here, let me promote you to leader real quick. Maybe you can show me a game like that, if you have one. That is, if you know one on top of your head.
All right, this one real quick. This one is, oh wait, all right. This one, the Zerg is really smart. Like he tricked me.
Okay, I wrote down a couple more notes for like the lurker transition, but yeah.
Okay. So
He tricked you. Mm.
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant for like Zerg versus Zerg. Maybe I
This
misunderstood.
is this is Zerg.
Oh,
this is-
huh?
Yeah.
He shows up as a Protoss on my screen. Maybe it's a
Really?
bug. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. No, it's a Protoss. It's a Protoss.
I think it's a Protoss. Yeah.
Shoot. Yeah.
Oh, he's
Sorry.
actually random. No. Maybe you are right.
No. This is a Protoss. This is a Protoss.
Oh, okay.
Wait. No, this is Zerg. This is Zerg.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little buggy. It shows
Yeah,
up
well,
as a Protoss on the.
We'll figure out. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
Zerg.
this is. How weird is that? Like your replay showed it was a Protoss.
So this guy put his natural second base on the third base spot. So when I over get to the natural, I see it's building the third base. And then I say, wow, that must be like a Zergling's aggressive attack. And I just said
Right.
defense. And then he just out drawing me.
Ah, okay, I see. Yeah, so opposed to the ZVT scouting with the Overlord and the Zerg versus Protoss second Overlord, for ZVZ, first Overlord, Overlord positioning. So first Overlord that you have, so positioning, there you go. They're natural, and then second Overlord, so the first one you make, should go to their third.
Yeah. Also, because he's a random, so I need to prevent that if he's a Protoss.
Oh,
so I
right,
put the
right.
Overlord at the second base, natural spot. So that's why my second Overlord is about late to get to the
Right.
third base.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. No, I think actually, yeah. He's playing random, so that makes sense.
He's like a random, like a master random player.
Ah, so this is actually pretty confusing right now. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, so that's also why we go for the spine crawlers here. Okay, yeah, so this guy is just tricking you. Yeah, like I don't really have like super solid advice about playing against random because this is very confusing. You see a couple of drones. Oh, actually, like the Overlord's just barely not seeing those drones sneak by either. Okay, now you know, I guess, but already a little bit behind. Yeah, so this game is going to be difficult to give advice on because it's like, it started off so strangely. You're not likely to see another Zerg player go for the third base as their first expansion. Okay, nicely done.
And he morphed those Zerglings on the side of my creep, and I didn't see it.
Oh, that's rough. Yeah, so Lurker play right now is going to be much stronger because of like the upgrades in the late game and stuff. I'm not sure if people already transition to them too much faster, but I wouldn't be surprised if they will at some point in the future. Just because like the Lurker den will build much quicker too. But yeah, like Ravagers and stuff are good against like small numbers of Lurkers. So like Corrosive Bowels kills them really quite easily. I think this, so I saw you going for a Spire just now. Did you cancel the Spire? Or did I miss it? Yeah, there was a Spire. Oh, you canceled it, I think. Yeah, when he was making Hydras, you're like, okay, nope. Yeah, so like the nice thing about Lurkers is that you can hold an army even if you're behind. So say it's like 150 supply versus 200, you can actually hold if you have Lurkers. But it mostly comes down to like trying to prevent your opponent from mining and stuff. So right now he gets a fourth base up. If you can kill that, actually, it's really nice. But yeah, we can discuss like Lurker play for ZVZ for like 2 hours, I think, because it's
Okay.
it gets pretty messy.
And he just Lurkers. Come on.
Oh, you have your own Lurkers too.
Yeah. But they're not in a good position.
I think they actually weren't in a bad position, to be honest. Like, Lurker positioning is kind of interesting in ZVZ. Because really all you need to do is protect the hatchery, right? So you could walk them, like, to hug the hatchery, and I think that would have been fine. But it gets difficult. You don't know if he has, like, the ranged upgrade yet. Because you don't know if he's, like, at Hive Tech here. So it's difficult to gauge, like, what your position would be here, yeah. Okay, so this was a bit of a...
New
Thanks.
subscriber detected.
No, I was
thanked
looking. So I was looking for like a ZVZ replay to show today, and I just played this yesterday, and I said, "Oh, this is the one I want."
Okay, fair. Yeah, so this game started off really strangely. This game started off as such a weird one.
Yeah.
Actually, like I don't think your general direction here was bad though. I think mutas aren't like. I think if you want to go mutas, you basically have to go Ling muta. You can still get like a roach warren, but I think if you add on the spire after you've already been producing a whole lot of roaches, it gets a little bit awkward.
Okay.
So I think you probably just want to go straight up into mutas or transition, towards hydras and then into lurkers. But it's still the same rules still kind of apply. Like in order to play lurkers properly, you need as much gas as you can. I think you need like at least 7 to 8 gases. So usually like it's all roach ravager up to 4 base economy really kicks in, and yeah, like that's something that requires a little bit more practice, I suppose. Like most of these games should probably be over by the time you get there. Like right now, it's not so much that he like won because of lurkers, he won because of economy, you know? Like if you look right here at the amount of...
Yeah, he's like 80 goals. Right?
Yeah, he's got so much more income. So I don't think it like really came down too much to the lurkers here. It just comes down mostly to army size. Yeah, like more stuff is better than less stuff. Like he's 102 supply here for army, you're 62. It's just difficult to win. Yeah, so same for like Zerg versus Zerg. Vipers are really nice to have. For ZVT and ZVP, you can rush out Vipers first and then like transition towards Lurkers. I think for ZVZ, you'd want to sit on Lurkers for a little bit and then transition towards Vipers. But that's some more like smaller details, I guess.
Okay.
I think we have enough to work on for the time being, though. There's a lot of points here that I think can help you out quite a bit. So what's the goal for the next coaching? Are we looking for like 3.5k MMR?
Like diamond, I think.
Yeah. Well, is that actually diamond? Like 3.5k? Does anyone know like what the MMR is for diamond 3?
I think 3.4 is already diamond. I see a lot of people like 3.4.
Okay,
3.45-ish. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So that would be 3.5k, 3.3, 3.5. Okay, let's write it down as 3.4 to 3.5. Next goal next January. January, man, that's freaking 2020. That's weird. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like January, like it's supposed to be like, it feels like it's like September or something. Why are we talking about January? But no, January is a couple weeks. Pretty sick. All right. Yeah, as always, like let me know if you run into any problems or if you have any questions in the next couple of weeks. Always happy to help.
All right.
Also, if you have like a replay you want me to check out. But yeah, really good job, man. Great progress. Keep
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No worries. Talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.